Hello everyone, in this video we will look at how to determine the rise and the run of a line. Before we do so, we need to review on the formula that we use to calculate the slope. As you see on the screen, the slope equals to the difference of the y coordinates of 2 points over the difference of the x coordinates of those same 2 points, which is really equals to the rise over the run. So basically, whenever we are asked to find the rise over the run of a line, we are asked to find the slope. During this video, we will ask this same question to find the rise and the run. How many units in vertical direction, which is the rise, and the units in horizontal direction, which is the run, should be made to go from one point to another on the same line? Let's look at an example. What's the rise and the run for the line that passes through the points -3 and 1 and 9 and 6? So again, basically, we will calculate the slope, and the slope will give us the rise and the run. So the formula says the slope m equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Since we have 2 points given, then we are able to label the x and the y coordinates on each and use them in the formula. The first one, x1 and y1, the second one, x2 and y2. Use the values on those points in the formula and do the math to find the slope. y2 is 6 minus y1 is 1 over x2 is 9 minus -3 for x1. Do the subtraction on top and the bottom and you'll find the slope. 6 minus 1 on the top here is 5, and 9 minus -3 is the same as saying 9 plus 3, which is 12. This fraction represents the slope of the line. The top number is the rise of the line and the bottom number is the run for the line. So that means to go from one point to another on that same line, you need to go up vertically 5 units, which is the rise, and go horizontally to the right 12 units. This is a practice question for you to try. What's the rise and the run for the line that passes through -1 and 7 and -2 and 5? Again, we will find the slope. The slope of the line can be found by using the formula m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We are given 2 points. Then the best thing to do is to label the coordinates before using them. x1, y1 for the first point, x2 and y2 for the second point. Simply plug in the numbers in the right positions on the formula. y2 in this case will be the 5 minus 7 divided by -2 minus -1. Evaluate the top and the bottom subtractions. 5 minus 7 is -2. And then divided by, you have a -2 minus -1. It's the same as saying -2 plus 1. So that will give you a -1. Now this fraction represents the slope. Now this fraction also is not in simplest form. We need to put our slope fraction or slope value in simplest form so we're able to find the rise and the run of that line. So -2 over -1, the simplest form for that is 2 over 1. So in this case, the rise would be the 2 and the run would be the 1. Again, to go from one point on this line to another point on the same line, you will have to go up 2 units and then to the right 1 unit. This is a different problem. What if you're given the graph of the line and you need to determine the rise and the run of this line? What's the rise and the run of the graphed line? So in this case, we will plot any 2 points on the line, and then we figure out how many units we have to go either up or down. That would be the rise of the line, and how many units we have to go horizontally either to the right or the left, and that will give us the run. And then together, that will determine the slope or the rise and the run of this line. So let's determine or plot any 2 easy points on the graph. One easy point I see is this point here. And another point we are able to use is this point. Now, to go from this point to this point, what would be the rise and the run? So we can go 1, 2, 3 up. That is the rise. So 3 for the rise. And then from there, so that was the rise. And then from there, we go horizontally to the right 1 unit, and that would be the run, 1. That is the run. Now, what if you have chosen another 2 different points? Let's change the color to make them different. Let's keep the first point the same, but what if you chose this point instead to be your second point? Would it give you the same rise and run? Let's see. So to go from this point to that point, we have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 units up. So that will be 9 for the rise. And then you need to go 1, 2, 3 to the right. So that will give you +3 for the run. Now, again, if you remember in the last question, we said we need to simplify the slope. So with this rise and run, the slope in this case is 9 over 3. This is not in simplest form. You need to reduce the fraction. So to reduce the fraction, you need to eliminate the common factor between 9 and 3, which is 3. Divide over 3 on the top and divide over 3 on the bottom. And that will give you 3 over 1, the same result that we had when we chose the first set of points. So in this case, again, the rise is 3 and the run is 1. This is another practice question, the same thing, a graphed line, and your job is to find the rise and the run. Okay, let's do the question together. So let's pick any 2 random points. I will pick the easy points I see on the line. I'm going to pick this one. And also, I'm going to pick this one here. And let's see what would be the rise and the run to go from this point to this point. So we have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So 4 is the rise. And then for the run, we have to go horizontally to the left. So 1, 2, and that would be -2 for the run because we did go to the direction of the negative values on the x-axis. So the run in this case will not be 2, will be -2. So in this case, the rise equals to the 4 and the run is -2. Now, if you look at 4 and -2, if we're going to put them in a fraction form for the slope, so it would be 4 over -2, this is not in simplest form. We need to reduce the common factor between the 4 and the 2, so divide over 2 and divide over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. -2 over 2 is at -1. Again, the fraction is not in simplest form for one reason, that the negative value is in the denominator. To put the reduced fraction with a negative denominator in simplest form, we need to switch the negative sign to the top. So it will be -2 over 1. It will not change the value of the fraction from this one to this one. It's the same value, but this will put the fraction in the simplest form. So the rise and the run for the line is -2 for the rise and 1 for the run. Now, if you say that the rise is 4 and the run is -2, it's not wrong. But it is the way that we speak about the rise and the run is to get it from the simplest form of the slope. Another kind of question on this topic. What's the rise and the run of the line 2x plus y equals to 4? In this case, we are not given 2 points. We are not given a graph of the line, but we are given in this case the equation of the line. How do we find the rise and the run for this line given its equation? Well, again, the rise and the run is equivalent to finding the slope. To find the slope, we need 2 points. The easiest 2 points that we are able to find on this line is the 2 intercepts. The point where the line intersects the y-axis and the point where the line intersects the x-axis. This method we call the double intercept method. We are able to use the double intercept method either to graph the line and then track where to go up and horizontally to go from one point to the other point like we did in the previous question, or we can use these 2 points to simply use the formula m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It really depends on you. If you'd like to graph the line, you can go to this direction, or if you just like to use algebra and formula, then use the second way. So first, let's determine the 2 intercepts of this line. So again, to do that, we need to find the value of the y intercept, and that is found by setting the x equals to 0. So we will replace the x with a 0 and then evaluate the y value corresponds to this value of x, and that will give us the first point. So this first point is where the line intersects with the y-axis. So let's do that. We have 2 times 0 plus y equals to 4. We have one variable here, y. We are able to solve for this one variable. 2 times 0 is 0 plus y equals to 4, which is the same as saying y equals to 4. Then this is the value of y. The first point, which is the y-intercept point, is 0 and 4. The second point is the x-intercept point. So find the x-intercept point, which is you can get from setting the y this time to 0. So you're going to use the same equation, and instead of putting the x equals to 0 this time, you're going to have the y equals to 0, and then we'll solve for x. 2x plus 0 should equal to 4 according to this equation. This is the same as saying, well, 2x equals to 4. solved by dividing 2 and 2 for both sides. And in this case, x will equal to 2. So you have the x value and the y value. So your point now, the second point, the x-intercept point, is 2 and 0. We have 2 points, point 1 and point 2. We can either graph the line like this, using the points. We can plot the 2 points here and there and connect the line, and then go up and then to the left to find the rise and the run, or you can have the formula help you with that. With the graph, if you start from this point, you will have to go up 2 units, so the rise is 2, and then you will have to go to the left 1 unit, so the run is -1. So from the graph, rise equals to 2 and run equals to -1. Or another method is to use the formula, which is m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 equals to, let's label the points. We have this as x1, y1, and this will, of course, be x2, y2. Y2 in this case is a 0 minus 4. And then we have 2 minus 0 equals 2. 0 minus 4 is -4. And then 2 minus 0 is just a 2. Equals 2. This is not in simplest form. Simplify the fraction, and that will be divided by 2, divide by 2, -2 over 1. So now the rise is -2 and the run is 1. This is actually the way that we're going to go for. This is the values of the rise and the run that we're going to go for. From the graph, we had the rise 2 and the run is -1. That would be the slope as 2 over -1. Simplify the fraction. It should be -2 and 1. Both methods will give you the same values of rise and run. Just be careful from the graph. You need to still reduce the fraction. So do not forget to reduce the fraction. So in both cases, the rise is -2, the run is 1. You can choose which method you would like to use. In either way, you will have to use the double intercept method first. This is a practice question. Take your time to do the problem, then come back for the answers. Let's do the question together. What's the rise and the run of the line y equals to 5x minus 15? We will use the double intercept method to find 2 points on the line. We can either graph the line and go from there, or use the formula m equals to the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. So find the y-intercept, and that makes us put the x equals to 0. So y equals to 5 times 0 minus 15, which is the same as saying y equals to, that is gone because 5 times 0 is 0, y equals to -15. So the first point is 0 and -15. And then find the x-intercept this time. And we get that from setting the y equals to 0. So 0 equals to 5x minus 15. Bring the 5x to the other side. So subtract 5x from both sides. So that would be -5x equals to, that's a 0, equals to -15. divide over -5 on both sides, and that will give us that the value of x is 3, and that will give us the second point, which is 3 and 0. If you'd like to graph the line, the graph would look like this. You can plot the 2 points, 0 and -15, and 3 and 0, connect the line, and then determine the rise and run like we had done in the other set of questions. Or you can use the formula as mentioned before. Let's use the graph since we have the graph here. Let's take the point 3 and 0 and pick another point like 4 and 5, 4 and 5 here, and see what we should do to reach from this point to that point. We have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 5. So the rise so far is 5. And then the run would be 1. The run would be 1. Put the rise and the run in a slope form just to make sure that everything is simplified. So m in this case is 5 over 1. Nothing to be simplified, so the rise is 5 and the run is 1. That is our final answer. If you have any questions on this video, you are able to email, chat, or schedule an appointment with an instructor or a teacher assistant using the link below.